Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in to my first ever YouTube video, on this account. Before, I had a different plan for this channel. It was called, the NFC North podcast thing, but I decided just to do it in Packers because I know more about the Packers, and I feel like I would be better and more into the channel if I did just Packers. But sometimes I might do an NFC North podcast if I'm featuring someone, like if someone else is in a podcast with me, I might do like about the whole NFC North or about the team that they're a fan of or something like that, but it'll be different unless they're a fan of the Packers too, then we can talk about something. But today's video, I'm bringing things that went wrong in 2018 season for Green Bay Packers, as you've probably seen in the title. It was not a hard list at all because basically a lot of the things that Packers struggled in 2018 were obvious, and I'll also go through and say what I think Packers fixed. It's a pretty long list I have here. I was pretty detailed in it. I went as far as from certain people to certain like positions to certain like things, like just like. But I'll get to that part. But starting with number one on my list, I got offensive line. I know that was a huge struggle in 2019. We had David Bakhtiari, Brian Bulaga, and Corey Linsley, and that was about it. Our guards were not anything special. Lane Taylor and I forgot the other one, Byron Bell. They weren't anything special, and one of them for surely aren't here anymore. Well, they're not the starter. Byron Bell isn't a starter anymore because now Billy Turner's the starter. And Lane Taylor is in danger of losing his starter spot to Elgton Jenkins. So that'll be an interesting battle to watch in training camp through preseason, because that could be a big change for the Packers and the offensive line and the fans. I think it could be a huge change because with the two guards, I think they're the ones letting us down last year, because it only takes one player for the Packers to have a bad season, especially on offensive line. But I think that Lane Taylor might lose his job. I don't know. I've never seen Elgton Jenkins play in a regular NFL game, so I'm not for sure on that one. So as far as that goes, we'll have to see. But that was my first one, and I give it like a half check mark because we for surely replaced Byron Bell, so that helped. If we can replace Lane Taylor with Elgton Jenkins, and if Elgton Jenkins is as good as he was in college, then I'll give that a full check mark. Right now it's a half check mark, but I'll just give that a check mark. Number 2 is tight end. Because Jimmy Graham had a very disappointing year last year, as everybody knows, and I think everybody was expecting better from him. And Jimmy Graham had not a good catch percentage. He didn't have too much receptions. He dropped so many passes. He didn't have much of anything. And I think that was a big problem with Jimmy Graham. Also, his blocking skills were not even a skill. I shouldn't even say skill. His blocking was not good and helpful to the Packers in 2018. But with the new system, it could help Jimmy Graham, because maybe he just needed a reboost to help him in 2019. But if it didn't help him with the new system, I think then it's for surely time to go. But I'm glad that Packers gave him a second chance, because this way Jimmy Graham can prove it, like, this year's, like, your career's done, or it was just you had a bad year. So I'm glad Packers decided to keep Jimmy Graham. I think that was a really good decision by Matt LaFleur and the Packers Packers. 1 second. Packers staff. I think it's also smart to do that and get. I think they got a new tight ends coach, but the problem with that is you got Jimmy Graham, okay, one player who could bring us back, but then you got to go in depth. Marcedes Lewis, is not anything special at all. Then you go into Robert Tonyan. He had a decent year, but I wouldn't count him as the tight end. And then you got Jay Sternberger, who hasn't played an NFL game yet. He had a very strong college play. He did very strong in college. But if he could do what he did in college and bring it to Packers, I think that's going to help him. And I think he could merge as tight end number 2 and take Marcedes Lewis' place. I think he's going to get a lot of snaps in, though. But I think tight end, that is a big problem with depth. And we just don't got the right guys, I think. So I don't think we fixed that at all. We got one extra player, but that's it. So I'm going to leave that unchecked. Another thing I put down is drama. You had drama between, like, Josh. I know this didn't happen until this year, but Josh Jones wanting to be traded. A lot of players wanting to get their way. And the big one was Aaron Rodgers versus Mike McCarthy. Basically, that's all the drama I was talking about, though. But that's about it. And then number 4, you're going to be surprised by I put down Aaron Rodgers. It's not necessarily bad, but Aaron Rodgers wanted to play the game his way because, I'm the one and only Aaron Rodgers, and I get to run the game. But that's not really how it works because it's coach. You got to listen to your coach. But at the same time, I get where Aaron is coming from. He's the only one that knows how to read defense. One of the only quarterbacks in the league that knows how to look at defenses that are rushing in at him. But Aaron Rodgers, that was another thing, is because he wanted to change all the plays and do everything his way. So that was a problem in my eyes. And then not stopping the run game. I put that down because the Green Bay Packers finished 20th in rush, like stopping defensive rush stops. Packers finished 20th, and that's really, really, really bad. So that's why I put that down. Not running the ball enough. That's a problem. You got a great running back, and you're not even. Oh, I should probably go check these. Drama, I think that's retained. Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy's not there, so I say do that. Not stopping the run game. I think we definitely bettered ourselves in defense, so I could put that a check mark. Not running the ball enough. I think with the new system, Matt LaFleur is going to run the ball more, so I'm going to check that one. The reason why I think that's a problem for Packers is because when Packers aren't running the ball enough, you're putting more pressure on Aaron, and the more pressure Aaron has, and the more times he has chances on getting sacked, he's not going to be healthy anymore. And if he's not healthy, our season is going down the drain. And we have a really, really good 3 running backs on our hands. And there's no reason why we can't be using them as much as we don't. I think Packers definitely need to use them more because I think it's ridiculous. We should be taking the pressure off Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Jones is a beast. He does not get the ball enough. Jamal Williams is a beast. He's a backup for being a beast. He doesn't get the ball enough. Dexter Williams, college, beast. And Dexter Williams, I can't really call him a beast for NFL because he hasn't played in the league yet. But basically, we got 3 really, really good running backs. So I'm going to check that because Matt LaFleur is calling for his system to run the ball more. And that's good. And I think Aaron is happy about that. The next one that I put on my list is linebackers. Linebackers was a big problem because we had Clay Matthews, Nick Perry, Morrison and Blake Martinez, I think, something like that. But when I don't know how to explain this. When we had Nick Perry on the field, he was a waste of spot. When we had Clay Matthews on the field, he was a waste of spot. I'm not saying they were bad or anything, but they weren't producing anymore. They were wasting our linebacker spot that we could have got young talent. They were wasting our money that we had. And they wasted roster spots. And I'm glad Packers got rid of the, Cobb and all them. Thank you for all them for what they've done to us. But you guys gotta admit, some Packer fans are admitting like Clay Matthews, he's an Aaron Donald, and he's the best in the league. He was one of the best in the league in his prime. But every player has to be done at some point. Clay Matthews reached that. Nick Perry was one of the best when he was in his prime. He's reaching the end of his career. Randall Cobb was a really good receiver, but he's injured all the time. You don't want to keep someone on your roster that's injured all the time. And either way, Randall Cobb didn't catch every single pass that came to him. You guys gotta admit that you can't keep acting like everything was okay. But linebackers, basically we only had one linebacker because Morrison wasn't anything special. So I say we definitely fixed that with Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Blake Martinez, and Orenberg's rushing in now. So I say we fixed that. Not producing sacks. Our defense was terrible. We barely had any sacks from Clay Matthews. One forced fumble from Nick Perry. I think one or two sacks from Nick Perry, and then a forced fumble week 1. Morrison had 1 sack, and then Blake Martinez had like 8. Then Kenny Clark had 7 or something like that, and Kyler Fackrell had like 11.5. But my point is Packers didn't produce enough sacks. I think that was a big problem, but I say we definitely fixed that because now we got Zadarius rushing in from the edge, we got Preston rushing in from the edge, we got Blake and Oren rushing into the middle, and then we got Kenny as a nose tackle, and defensive ends we got Mike Daniels and Dean Laurie. Also for linebackers, we added Rashawn Gary. He could possibly also play defensive lineman too. He's definitely able of that, but I know in the draft they announced him as a linebacker. But so basically he has versatility. So I say we fixed the sacks. Coverage was terrible. We literally had Jair Alexander. Whoop-de-doo. Now, what about when Kevin King was covering? What about when Tramon Williams was a safety? We didn't have any coverage. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but I think we fixed that. We fixed that with, I think we fixed that with putting Jair Alexander in. I think Kevin King is going to come back strong for the beginning of the year. He might get to be a problem later in the year. We'll deal with it when the time comes. For safety, we got Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. I think both of them are going to be beasts in the league. I think Darnell Savage could win Defensive Rookie of the Year the way he plays. And I'm glad Packers traded up in the draft to get him. And I like that. So I say we fix that. The safety struggle, basically, I talked about. I say we fix that. Injuries, huge problem. Offensive line, injured. Safeties, injured. Defensive backs, injured. Linebackers, injured. Defensive linemen, injured. Everybody was injured. I guess I can't really put a check mark or leave one out. You can't really put anything for that because injuries, you can't fix that. So there's nothing to go for that. Aaron not being healthy was a big problem too. He played with his knee. He played with the brace. He played with something in his leg, and I can't put anything for that because there's no guarantee he'll stay healthy. Also, there's a bigger chance for Aaron getting hurt because he's getting old and he's almost 36 years old. Another problem I put down was Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, don't get me wrong, good coach. Well, was a good coach. He wasn't anymore, and I think I want to thank Mike McCarthy for all the years that he's put in for us and helped this team and made us into one-time Super Bowl champ. I think we should have won more, and I think that's McCarthy's fault because I think he wasn't trying hard enough. He wasn't trying to come up with new plays. He kept the same plays his whole time in coaching. So I say, good job. We fixed that. Matt LaFleur, I think Matt LaFleur, with him being an offensive-minded coach, I think he's going to be coming up with new plays all the time. Another thing I put down is communication. Communication was not good last year. There's no for sure, so I can't put any check marks. Special teams was terrible, but this year we fixed it. So check mark. New coordinator. We got kicking competition for Mason Crosby. J.K. Scott is entering his second year in the league. I just think it might be a better year. And we got Trevor Davis as returner, and I think it's great. And I think our special teams is going to do much better. Then the penalties were ridiculous on Packers. Packers, I think holding and pass interference were the biggest ones for Packers. There's no for sure answer to fix that, so I'm just going to put another slash through that. I'm gonna skip this one because I'm gonna save the other one for last. Defense was a huge problem. Our defense was not producing at all. The defense was not good. The defense was terrible. We did not produce much at all. I definitely say we improved there. Offense, we struggled, but I think with the new system it'll help. We didn't do much on offense this year, as much as I would have liked to. But I've been hearing that 2020 draft, Packers are going to go, it's going to be an offensive draft for Packers because 2019 was a defensive draft. I think 2020 is the time to get, to draft a quarterback. If DeShone Kizer didn't step it up from 2018, I think we should look into getting another quarterback in 2020. But if he did step it up, then don't worry about a quarterback. But for the main part, I'm leaning towards getting a quarterback. But I'm going to check the offense off just because the new system. I know we didn't do much besides Marquez Valdes-Scantling being a new receiver and Billy Turner being a new starter, and we didn't do much. So we literally got like 2 new starters on the team and for offense, and yeah. This last one is going to surprise all of you guys. The fans. We are another problem. I think at Lambeau Field we are not loud enough. I think Packer fans are starting to get annoyed with how bad Packers have been. And I think if Packers could step up the hype and hype the players up at games, I think we could do much better. I think fans aren't being supportive. I think Packers are starting to lose a lot of fake fans. Because people who are fake fans, just Packers have been losing, so they've been losing them. But them aren't real fans, so that ain't your guys' fault. But I think I'm leaning towards support. Like, the fans haven't been giving Packers enough support as lately. So I don't know if that's gonna fix it. I'm gonna put another line. So basically, the only thing of our problems that we didn't really fix is tight end. Maybe that'll fix in 2020, but thank you for tuning in to the new video. I just changed the name. It's like the crack. I don't know, whatever. But if you like my the name of the podcast channel, just comment that, and thank you for watching it. I can't think. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and share my account. And if you have any suggestions, just comment them. Till next time, this is the Packer Podcast channel, and thank you for watching.